The latest audit findings for the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority, or PPRA, paint a grim picture. For the 2024 to 2025 financial year, the regulator received an adverse audit opinion, which, honestly, is one of the most severe outcomes possible. This isn't just a minor administrative slip-up, it signals a fundamental breakdown in the very systems designed to ensure accountability and protect public funds. An adverse opinion means the financial statements are so materially misstated and plagued with inconsistencies that they cannot be trusted. It points to systemic failures across the board, from financial management to basic governance, raising serious questions about the entity's ability to fulfill its mandate as the watchdog of South Africa's vast property sector. This regression from previous years is a major red flag for everyone involved. The implications of this finding are profound and far-reaching. For property practitioners who pay their levies and for consumers who rely on the PPRA for protection, this report is deeply concerning. It suggests that the money meant to regulate the industry and drive its transformation is being managed in a state of chaos. The audit uncovered widespread non-compliance with critical legislation, most notably the Public Finance Management Act, or PFMA, which serves as the bedrock of financial discipline for public entities. When a regulator, whose very purpose is to enforce rules, so flagrantly disregards them, it creates a crisis of credibility that is difficult to overcome. The message it sends is one of impunity and disorder at the highest levels. At the heart of this crisis is a near total collapse of internal controls. These are the checks and balances that prevent errors, fraud, and wasteful spending. The audit revealed that these controls are either non-existent or completely ineffective. Material misstatements in financial records, which have persisted from previous years, were once again flagged, indicating a culture where correcting fundamental problems is not a priority. This is not just about numbers on a page, it's about a leadership and management structure that has failed to steer the ship correctly. The institution appears to be adrift, navigating treacherous financial waters without a compass, a map, or a capable crew at the helm. The situation leaves the PPRA in a precarious position. Its financial stability is under threat, its leadership is in constant flux, and its core mission is being undermined from within. The adverse audit outcome is more than a technical report. It is a loud and clear alarm bell. It warns that unless drastic and immediate action is taken, the authority risks becoming completely dysfunctional, leaving a multi-billion rand industry vulnerable and unprotected. For the thousands of agents, homeowners, and aspiring property professionals, the question is simple yet urgent. Can this vital institution be saved from itself before it is too late? The road to redemption will require more than just promises. It will demand a complete overhaul. The audit report reads like a checklist of what can go wrong in a public entity. The financial mismanagement is staggering, with material misstatements exceeding 100 million rand in total. For instance, deferred revenue was overstated by more than 41 million, while 14 million in credit memos were incorrectly classified as income, artificially inflating the authority's financial position. On top of this, long-standing issues such as over 9 million in receivables and 37 million in debtors with credit balances remain unresolved from as far back as the 2022 to 2023 audit. This demonstrates a chronic inability to maintain accurate financial records, a basic requirement for any functional organization, let alone a national regulator entrusted with public and industry funds. The procurement and contract management processes were equally flawed, leading to 14.3 million in irregular expenditure. This wasn't money lost to simple mistakes, it was spent in direct violation of the rules. Contracts were awarded based on expired agreements, deviations from procurement regulations were not justified, and some deals went to suppliers who had submitted inflated quotes. Furthermore, poor oversight on contracts worth 2.7 million resulted in overpayments and unauthorized changes. These practices not only waste precious resources but also breach Section 217 of the Constitution, which demands that public procurement be fair, equitable, transparent, and competitive. It creates an environment ripe for corruption and cronyism. The governance structure meant to provide oversight simply fell apart. The entity experienced a revolving door of leadership, with 4 different chief financial officers cycling through the organization in a single year. This level of instability at such a critical position makes consistent financial strategy impossible. Compounding this chaos, the PPRA operated without a board, its official accounting authority, for a crucial period between November 2024 and January 2025. In this vacuum, major decisions were made without the legally required approval, including the write-off of $24.7 million in debt, a direct violation of the PFMA. This is not just poor management, it's a dereliction of duty. Finally, the authority showed a shocking neglect of its digital infrastructure. In an age where cybersecurity is paramount, the PPRA failed to implement a central system for managing security patches, leaving its networks vulnerable to cyber attacks. Key IT policies, including the ICT strategy and security policies, were not even approved, and no cybersecurity awareness training was conducted for staff throughout the entire year. This exposes the sensitive data of thousands of property practitioners and the public to significant risk. The combination of financial disarray, leadership voids, and IT negligence paints a picture of an organization in a state of multi-system failure, seemingly incapable of performing its most basic functions. The consequences of these systemic failures are severe and multifaceted. Legally, the widespread breaches of the PFMA expose the PPRA to potential intervention from National Treasury. This could involve placing the entity under administration, a drastic step that would signal a complete loss of confidence in its current leadership and board. Such an intervention, while necessary for stabilization, would be a reputational disaster. It would publicly confirm that the authority tasked with regulating an entire industry is incapable of regulating itself. The damage to public trust, which is already fragile, would be immense. How can property practitioners or consumers trust an institution that cannot manage its own affairs? Operationally, the PPRA is teetering on the brink. The audit revealed an operating loss of $2.79 million and negative cash flow, highlighting a serious threat to its financial sustainability. The authority is heavily dependent on management fees from the Property Practitioners Fidelity Fund, which account for 45% of its revenue. This reliance, coupled with poor financial management, puts the PPRA at risk of insolvency, potentially requiring a government bailout to stay afloat. The operational setbacks caused by IT weaknesses and leadership instability also compromise its ability to deliver services efficiently, from issuing Fidelity Fund certificates to handling consumer complaints, leaving its stakeholders stranded. Perhaps the most disheartening failure lies in the PPRA's inability to deliver on its core transformation mandate. The Property Practitioners Act was designed not just to regulate, but to actively transform the sector, creating opportunities for historically disadvantaged individuals. Yet the numbers show a catastrophic shortfall. The PPRA had a target of supporting 440 black women to enter the industry. It managed to support only 37. It aimed to develop 1,100 black principals to lead their own agencies. It only developed 74. These are not just missed targets, they represent broken promises and a betrayal of the transformative vision enshrined in law, holding back progress in a critical sector of the economy. This pattern of governance collapse is not unique to South Africa. Similar crises have unfolded globally, offering a stark warning. In Pakistan, recent audits of its aviation and highway authorities uncovered billions in financial mismanagement, irregular contracts, and a similar lack of accountability, crippling key state functions. In Indonesia, the government's decision to weaken antibiotic control policies led to widespread non-compliance in hospitals, jeopardizing public health. These international examples show how quickly regulatory failure can spiral, eroding public services and trust. For South Africa, the PPRA situation is a clear and present danger that mirrors these global cautionary tales. The path forward is littered with unresolved issues and unimplemented recommendations. The audit report laid out a clear roadmap for correction, yet crucial actions remain outstanding. The SAP financial system, which is riddled with inaccurate data, has not been cleaned. Urgent IT security measures like implementing a patch management system have been ignored. Record-keeping remains poor, and the financial recovery plan has not been fully activated. Most critically, the Loss Control Committee, the very body responsible for investigating irregular expenditure and enforcing consequences, remains inactive. This failure to act on previous advice ensures that the cycle of mismanagement will continue unabated. The lack of consequence management is arguably the root of the entire crisis. The audit found that no disciplinary actions were completed for the millions lost to irregular or fruitless and wasteful expenditure. When officials face no repercussions for breaking the rules, a culture of impunity takes hold. This sends a powerful message that non-compliance is acceptable. Experts argue that without swift and decisive action to hold individuals accountable, from the management team to the board members who presided over this chaos, any turnaround strategy is doomed to fail. Accountability is not just about punishment, it's about re-establishing the standard of conduct expected of a public institution. According to governance specialists, the situation at the PPRA demands immediate and robust oversight from Parliament and the Minister of Human Settlements. Strong leadership is needed to appoint a competent and stable board, empower it to clean house, and ensure that a credible and experienced executive team is put in place. The priority must be to stabilize the finances, implement all outstanding audit recommendations without delay, and begin the long process of rebuilding trust with the industry and the public. This is not a time for half measures or political expediency. It is a moment that calls for bold, decisive leadership to rescue a critical state entity from the brink of collapse. Ultimately, the future of South Africa's property sector depends on a regulator that is credible, effective, and trustworthy. The 2024 to 2025 audit has shown that the PPRA is currently none of those things. The stakes are too high to allow this state of affairs to continue. Urgent and comprehensive reform is not just an option, it is an absolute necessity. The government, industry stakeholders, and the public must all demand accountability and a clear, actionable plan to restore the PPRA to its rightful place as a guardian of integrity and a driver of transformation. The time for excuses is over, the time for action is now.